So the weather is interesting right now. Here, let me adjust this a little more. We're real fancy here. Okay. We had storms all night last night. I kept waking up. I'm pretty tired today because it was hard to sleep through some pretty intense wind, downpours that were, like somebody's dumping a bucket on you, lightning and thunder that shook the house. And I asked my husband, did you know there were storms going on all night? And he was like, yeah, I thought I might have heard some once or twice. I don't know what it is about men. It seems like they can sleep through anything. And maybe it's because we're the mamas and we always had to be tuned into the babies or whatever, that I think most of us as women, we tend to be light sleepers. And when there's something going on, it wakes us up. And at this point in life, once I get woke up, it's pretty hard for me to get back to sleep. So it was a very, very restless night. But I thought how interesting that sometimes, the natural will mimic what's going on in the spiritual or in the emotional or in the physical. And all these storms, we had some yesterday. Then, like I said, there were several coming through in the night. I'm watching a blue sky turn gray again right now. Pretty sure we'll have some more storms today, which is fine. I've gotten, they used to scare me when I was a child, and now I kind of enjoy them. It's just, I don't know. I've gotten to an age where I try to enjoy things rather than let them bother me. So I find joy in the storms sometimes. But in life, when there's a storm, it's kind of hard to find joy in it. And I say, that sometimes nature mimics what's going on in the natural, because I have several people that I'm close to, that I care about very much, that are going through some pretty intense storms in their lives. And it's hard when you love somebody, when you care about them, and you see them going through a hard time, or for me anyway, I want to fix it. I want to make it better. I've got my Aunt Elizabeth in me. We'll talk about Aunt Elizabeth someday too. She was something. Great woman. But I don't like to see people suffer. I don't like to see them hurt, but sometimes we have to go through things. Sometimes there's nothing you can do for another person, except love them and be there for them as they're going through their time, and definitely pray for them. So today I pulled this scripture out of my treasure box, which is my little treasure box that holds scriptures and testimonies and miracles and all kinds of things in it. And it's Matthew 26:38, and this is Jesus speaking. It says, he told them, my soul is crushed with grief to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me. I think sometimes in my life, when I've been through some pretty dark things, that I had moments when I thought, do you really understand what I'm going through here? I need you to do something for me, but I don't think you really get how bad this is or how much it hurts me. Like, he's God, and we don't think that, he maybe experiences some of the hard things that we experience. So how could he understand us? But the thing is, that's part of why God came in the flesh, and which is who Jesus is. He is God in the flesh. When he came here to live among men, he didn't get ushered in all the easy ways. An animal's food dish was his bed. He was born in a barn with a bunch of smelly animals. His parents couldn't even get a room for the night. And when he was coming, he was coming. He didn't always have it easy. He didn't have it easy at all. In his ministry, we see lots of times where he went through hard things, and he was carried away to the wilderness where the devil tempted him. And there were 3 temptations that he faced, and we'll talk about that another time. But they basically, each one of those temptations represents an area where we're tempted, in our flesh, in our, I can't even think of what they are right now. So I'm not gonna say, because I'll say it wrong. But he was tempted in 3 different areas of life, the same, that correlate to what we're tempted to. And they were the temptations for him. See, what tempts me may not tempt you, because it all has to do with, basically our soul hunger. When we have a soul hunger, and I had a soul hunger for a lot of years. I went through a lot of abuse, sexual abuse as a child. By the time I was 18, I had more than 20 abusers I was handed around. And I've found that that's not unusual, that a lot of people who were sexually abused as children were abused by multiple people. And in my adult life, I had people in my life that were horrible to me and cruel to me. And it worked well for them, because I already had been groomed to keep the secret and to cover things up and make it look good when it wasn't. So I've gone through some things. I've lost everything more than once. I've had some hard times. Now other people have had even harder times. I had cancer and didn't think I was going to survive that. I was a young mother with 2 little girls that I thought I was going to miss their lives. I know that there have been times when I have felt that God didn't understand. And today I'm thinking of my friends, my different friends, because there's multiple ones going through things right now. When I pulled this scripture out, so for those of you that are going through some hard times, this is what the Son of God said. My soul is crushed with grief. Crushed with grief to the point of death. That's pretty deep despair. That's pretty dark times. See, God does know what it is to suffer. He does know what loss is. I remember years ago, I was having my prayer time with God, and I realized, because I believe he helped me realize, that I was always, talking about my stuff, and I was telling him what I needed all the time. I didn't ever just stop and say, hey, I love you. I appreciate you. I am so grateful for everything you've given me, for everything you do in my life. And I never stopped and just asked God, how's your day today? And so one day I decided I'm not going to just be sitting here going with my want list and my need list. But I think I'm going to tell him how much I love him and how much I appreciate him. So I did. And you can get lost in that. Once you get going, you can get lost in that. And then I thought, I'm going to ask him how his day was today. And you know what? God answered me in my spirit. Well, you know what? My day was really good because of these great things that happened in the lives of some of the ones I love. But I also had a really bad day because some of the people I love didn't love me back. And they died today. And they never gave their life to me when they had a chance. And so they're not with me. Today I saw people in hell. That's a bad day. And something hit me. He really does care about us. He really does. And he cares what happens to us. I care about my own children. Whether they care about me or not, I care about them. Whether they're speaking to me or not, I care about them. Whether they like me or not, I care about them. Whether they behave in themselves or they're not, I care about them. And I care what happens to them. And there's nothing I've had my children hurt me. That's life, isn't it? I think we all experience our children breaking our heart at some point or other. I've been hurt by each one of my children more than once, but I've never stopped loving them, and I've never stopped caring about what happens in their lives or wanting the best for them. God feels the same way about every human being. I believe he does. It says he wasn't willing that any should perish. He didn't say, well, I kind of like that one over there and not that one, so that one can go, they can go ahead and go to destruction for eternity. I don't care. No, that's not who God is. He does care. And every time a soul is lost to the enemy, it breaks his heart. What Jesus went through on the cross for us was not just some glamorous thing. He suffered. He suffered horribly. I can't even imagine going through what he went through. And he didn't have to. At any time, he could have called for the angels of heaven to come pull him off that cross and minister to him and take him home. But he didn't. He stayed and he endured. And he asked his disciples when he told them that his soul was crushed with grief to the point of death. He asked them, stay here and keep watch with me. Stay with me a little while, will you? When you're going through a hard time, it helps to have a friend that'll just stay with you for a little while, to just be there. But here's the thing. I don't care who you are or what you think about God. I know he loves you. And whatever you're going through, he stays with you and he's keeping watch with you. And he's just waiting for you to ask for help. Now, that doesn't mean everything's going to get all good, all easy, because, well, there's a lot involved here. But not everything happens to us because we're doing something wrong. Sometimes it happens as a result of something somebody else is doing. Sometimes it happens because that's life, because we live in a world where there's disease and illness, and we're going to get infected with something at some point. You can't walk through a mud hole and not get mud on you. You exist in this world, you're going to be affected by this world. But it doesn't mean God doesn't care. And it doesn't mean that place that you're at right now, that you're going to always be there. It's a season. So I just want to encourage you today that if you're going through a hard time, if those storms are just going one after another like they did here last night, if they're doing that in your life, it truly is for a season. I have learned that in life, and I've been through some storms. It's for a season. Sometimes some seasons are a little longer than others, but just hang on to God because he's hanging on to you. All right. I love you guys. And, again, do all that YouTube stuff. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe if you enjoy these videos. I sure love talking to you. I love sharing the things that God's showed me in life. I love to share that with you. Hit the like button so that I know that this is ministered to you. Hit the notification bell so that you'll know when the next one comes up tomorrow. And share any of these videos that touch your heart, that somebody it might touch them. Share it with them. And, if you've got a prayer request, I love to pray for people. So please leave it in the comments if you want. Other people will see it then too and pray for you as well. Or if it's a little more personal, a little more private, and you don't want to share it with the whole world because that's what you're doing, my email address is in the about part of my page, and I'll try to remember to put it in the description of this too, so that you can just hit that email and contact me directly that way too, because I promise I will pray for you. I maybe can't fix all your problems, but I know who can, and I would love to pray for you, and I'll pray for you for a minimum of 40 days. Okay? So you have a great day. I love you, and I will talk to you later. And now I've got to hit that button because we're real high tech around here.